Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode, and today I wanted to get into why you need to utilize the velocity banking method when you're trying to pay off any loans as well as endeavoring to build wealth. All right, so before we get into that, let's go ahead and let you know that you need to like, share, and subscribe this because more people than just us need to know about this. Okay, are you ready to get into this? Let's do it. So first of all, it doesn't matter if you're trying to build credit and you're starting at perhaps $300, or even if you have $300,000. Credit is always going to be something that you're going to need to look at. Why? Because of the advantage that you have over others while you're using it. And this is what I mean. Anytime you're having a choice between using your checking account and using someone else's checking account, guess what your answer should be? I'm going to use someone else's checking account. I'm going to use someone else's money, right? That's how our economy is built, okay? Now, let's go ahead and just start with the $300 for right now, okay? You don't have the 300K yet. Let's just say you're at the 300. You're at 300 and you're wondering, man, what can I do to grow this 300? Well, the first thing you can do is make sure that you don't use 30%, but 30% of this $300. Now, what's 30% of $300? Is that $90? Now, how did I come up with that? Okay, so 10% of 300 is $30. All right. So if it's 30% that we're talking about, that's 10 times 3, right? So what would you multiply 30 by? 3. $90. So first of all, you don't want to go over $90. And you're gonna want to do this for at least 6 months to the credit card company. All right. So once the credit card company is like, hey, good job. All right. And you're like, well, thank you. But guess what? You need to give me more money. All right. So away with this $300. Listen, I've showed that I can securely and faithfully and loyally pay down this credit card. All right. Listen, give me 1,000, give me 2,000, give me 5,000. All right. Let's go ahead and say you have the $5,000. What are you going to do with $5,000? This is very important. Is this $5,000 yours? This is unsecured. Okay. This is very important. This $5,000, is it yours? Did you have to slave away, okay, at your job to earn this $5,000? No. So you just got a raise for being faithful, a faithful steward of your finances on the last credit card. All right. And there are actually credit card companies that go way beyond the $5,000. Okay. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Right. You need to make sure that you realize, though, that this is all unsecured. It's not collateralized. Right. You didn't have to front $5,000 and secure it by $5,000 in cash or currency. All right. They're very, very important, especially as we go through this lesson. So the unsecured is $5,000. What are you going to do with someone else's money? You're going to grow it. Right? So instead of buying it on whatever you want, buy your future. Invest in yourself, in whatever that means to you, whether it's through an educational class, Whether it's through a business, maybe you need to set up an LLC. Maybe you need to set up a nonprofit. Maybe you need to be a part of a program, right, that is investing, right, and making astronomical returns while the stock market is doing this, right, like I'm a part of, right? Maybe you need to do that with this. My strong recommendation for you with this unsecured capital, grow it. Now, you can also, let's say you got a big old fat loan over here. Guess what you can do with this $5,000? Okay, you say you got a $10,000 loan over here, right? Let's just say. With someone else's money, you can swallow up a large portion instead of having this money sit, okay? You can swallow up a large portion of that loan and you can turn it into simple interest. Because if you take $5,000, which, that would be 100% of this, and I'm not recommending that you max out your cards, but it's really no big deal if you do, all right? Because credit scores go up and down. So don't be concerned about that. We can help you with that, all right? $5,000, let's say you say, you know what, I want to go ahead and I want to exchange $5,000, okay? Because that's what you're doing here. So you're paying the $5,000 towards this loan. So now your loan is no longer $5,000. You have $5,000 of the loan left, but you also now have $5,000 in your balance. That's the balance now, okay? So how are we going to pay that balance off? What's that about? Why did I bring that up? How is that balance going to be paid off? Not the government. I'm just joking. Your income, all right? Your income is going to be paying this balance off. The cash flow that's left from, because remember, you're going to be paying your expenses from your where? Your checking account? No. Your savings account? No. Your retirement account? No. You're going to be paying your expenses from your line of credit. What's a line of credit? Go back and check my prior video, all right? I went over all of that, okay? So look, that's what's going to be paying this off. As you're continuing the monthly payments on this from your line of credit. Absolutely, okay? So let's say your cash flow, you got paid maybe $7,000 and your cash flow or your expenses are $4,000, now your cash flow is $3,000, all right? Well, $3,000 is what's going to pay that off, all right? Once this is paid off and you're back at $5,000, what happens again? You pay the whole loan off, right? And it's all done by the line of credit. Marker drop. Okay? Folks, that's why I encourage you to get the Money Max account, right? You type the buttons in. You don't have to do the math. You're like, okay, well, my income is this, my credit line is this, and my expenses are this. How long till I pay my house off? Ding! And it tells you how to pay that house off, how to pay the car loan off. It tells you, all right? Listen, if you're looking to hedge against inflation, you were looking at maybe getting the silver and the gold, don't go in it alone, right? Contact us. We'll let you know some great resources that we're using to make sure that we stack up on the hedge against inflation in gold and silver, all right? Listen, folks, this is not a joke. It's not a game, all right? We got this from our friends, right? In Renatus, real estate investing. Okay? As real estate investors, how many of you know you got to be creative? A lot of times we got to be creative, and then that's where Velocity Banking came from. We actually got it from Australia. Those guys really know how to work money. And so that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that our money is working for us and that we get rewarded for handling our money correctly, which we get rewarded when there's limit increases. How many of you have ever been a victim of a credit limit increase? It's a real thing, man. So listen, if you have any questions on that, you want to hedge against inflation, you want the Money Max account, you're even talking about, man, is there such a thing as a first lien HELOC? We just got connected to a first lien HELOC bank, and we need to get a hold of you. You know what I'm talking about. All right. And we're going to be having some conversations. We're going to be having some testimonies rolling on in about how people replace their mortgage with their first lien HELOC. Man, I can't wait. All right. God bless y'all, and you take care.